What's up, everybody? It's the Crypto Crow. I wasn't actually even planning on going live tonight, but I've been painting, and I do my painting and my videos pretty much in the same place, and I've been working on this little guy. You can't really see what he is. He looks like hell so right now, but uh, I've been busy, and I've got a lot of things going on, of course, but I wanted to just come on. I know it's super late. It's like 12:30 in the morning. But I figured I would discuss some stuff and answer some business development questions in the second half of this video, and just kind of hang out a bit. But I've been looking more and more into security tokens, STOs as they called them, and I'm really starting to believe that the market is changing, and I almost feel like, well, I guess first let's go into chat and just see who's popping up. Night live show, nice. What's good? Nice surprise. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. This is how I remember catching back in the days. Yeah, I used to do my videos later at night, and I definitely don't get nearly as many viewers live late at night. But I'm more comfortable. I'm a night owl. I'm always up so late. It's 12:30. I'm going to be awake for another 2-3 hours most likely. And it's when I just feel the most comfortable. I feel like during the day, I'm just more anxiety ridden. And I feel like I'm pulling my hair out and going in a lot of different directions at once. And I'm answering phone calls and texts and emails and doing research and working on this. And I just, even talking about it. Growing those MF coins still stronger than ever. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Obviously, when we think back on 2017 and we think about a lot of what the big craze was, these ICOs, the idea that your everyday, 15-year-old kid with some, saved up allowance money could go and invest in a startup company on the blockchain, a blockchain related company. What's up? Oh, hey, Maddie. That's nice to see you. Same night time is a good time for reflection and less noise. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody in the house is. I will say that our Maine Coon, Cardano, was just neutered today in our kitchen. And he's just been moping around all day. And he's so, oh my gosh, like we had to put him in the guest bathroom for like 5 hours, and we had to just leave him in there while he came out of his anesthesia, I guess. Because there's a vet that he just comes right to your house and does it. And thank you, Jacob. I appreciate that. I really, really do appreciate it. But it was so sad. I wanted to, I mean, he's my baby. I love my new cat. And thank you, Mr. Chip. And I just, he was so sad. He came to a few hours later, and he was in the bathroom, and he was just up against the door, meowing just lightly, but just letting us know, like, hey, I'm in here and I'm awake. And I laid down on the floor with him, and I'm just talking to him, and I could see him. He was just shaky. Oh my God, it melted my heart. It was just it still does, thinking about him. He's just been moping around, just going real slow, but he's jumping already and everything. And then he was tested for feline HIV and feline leukemia, came out negative for both. I'm like, oh, thank God. So there's only 26 people in here now, but in a few years, many of us will be millionaires. Yeah, I'm not doing this tonight because I expect a lot of views, and I didn't even make a thumbnail or anything. This is all very much, I've been painting, I've been listening to some stuff, and I'm not even really ready to be doing an STO video, but I just wanted to talk tonight, and I'm actually really considering doing an audio only podcast, not instead of YouTube, but there are just sometimes I just want to talk, and I just want to share my thoughts, and I'm thinking about doing, like, getting really serious. And I've gone into this a couple times in the past. I just get so busy, but a part of me is thinking it might be fun for those of you you know, have my mic right up against my mouth so I don't have to feel like I'm yelling or I need to yell, and just do some long podcasts with different guests and see if I can build some popularity that way, that would enable me to get, you know, bigger and bigger guests, you know. So, you know, if you guys are into that, you know, smash the likes on this video, let me know, post some comments, let me know, is it worth it? Like, it, you know, I know if I do Spreaker, I have to get so many views and listens, and I have to have so many audio clips up. I have to have so many shows up. But you could potentially get on like iHeartRadio, and I don't know. I just think it might be a really cool way of reaching a new audience and hopefully educating more people. So anyway, let me know in the comments if you think that'd be a good idea. But so anyway, you know, security tokens. Here's the thing, you know, so many people invested in ICOs. And, you know, while a lot of us basically say things like, well, you know, the SEC basically came down and threw a big wrench in the entire market, we should let crypto self-police itself. You know, let the community police itself. And while that sounds good right now, I have to think, I was sitting around and I was thinking about this today, and I'm thinking, what is the direction of the crypto space moving forward? Where are we right now? And realistically, we basically showed the world that blockchain technology is no joke. I mean, 2017 into 2018 basically showed the world, showed all these old fogies, showed all these institutional guys, these old school bankers, these basically that the new generation, our generations, want something better. And we want something that empowers us as a society, that in a way that the traditional financial markets simply do not do. And I believe that we had thousands and thousands of teenagers, young people who would never even think of investing in a stock, investing money into ICOs, that, you know, learning about a new technology, learning about a new asset class, watching YouTube videos like mine, reading books, reading articles. The blockchain space has created something that empowered the people in a very powerful way. And while that is fantastic, with that obviously comes all the scammers. Like, I get people messaging me on Instagram, or not Instagram, on Telegram, probably at least every day, of somebody who's pretending to be me, trying to scam some ICO or crypto company. You know, I get emails from these guys, and I think I may have stopped it, but I'm not sure. I think I did some things recently to try and stop people from spoofing my email. There's so many greedy people, and not even that. I've actually chatted a while back. I've actually chatted with somebody on Telegram pretending to be me, and he was basically some young dude in like Iran or something. I actually got him to send me a picture of himself because he was wanting my help with something. He's like, you know, I'm poor, I don't have anything, you know, and he was just trying to tell me a story on why he does what he does. And I know I'm weird like that, but it's like when people, I'm just one of those people that believes in the inherent good nature of everyone, even though I don't typically like most people. I know this sounds silly, but it's like I'm very compassionate about people, and I want to know their story. I want to understand why they are the way they are, and what got them to be that way. It's just always been my nature. I don't know. I mean, you know, when I don't like somebody, I mean, I don't hide that, but I also, just because somebody is doing something wrong, or you know they're doing something dishonest or whatever, I always kind of have to wonder, like, what drives somebody to be that way, or to take those risks, or to whatever. So anyway, the point I'm making, or trying to make rather, is the popularity of the crypto sphere brought in every Tom, Dick, and Harry with an ulterior motive, a shady business idea, you name it. And then the SEC basically said, look, hundreds and millions of billions of dollars are going into this new thing we don't know anything about, but a lot of people are getting ripped off because of this guy or that guy or this group or another group. And it's time we step in. And while that sent the market into the shitter, because at that point the excitement was gone. It was almost like, you know, when the cat's away, the mice will play. And as exciting as that was, there needs to be a cat. And I know that a lot of people don't agree with that. And I know that a lot of people don't agree with, you know, having the SEC or regulation or anti-money laundering laws or KYC, know your customer, and all of that. And I know that as that started to spill, I mean, there was a time when you can invest in an ICO. For those of you that don't know, you can invest in an ICO just throwing some Ethereum at a wallet, and the smart contract would spit out whatever you were investing in. There was no AML KYC. There was no nothing. It was super simple. Anybody could do it. And then it started to, you know, the idea of regulation started to come into play. And then you all of a sudden you had to fill out these forms, and people were using VPNs to try and mask where they were actually from so that they could access different ICOs from different countries. You know, it just started to grow. And that ultimately started to cause the market to die down, because people were investing in these projects based off of the speculative nature of them and the idea that so many other people were going to invest in these projects too, and ultimately create these ecosystems post-ICO on the exchanges, which would drive the prices up, right? That's what drove all this FOMO. And once the SEC came into this place and started kind of throwing their hammer around a bit and started scaring a lot of companies and a lot of people and throwing all these restrictions and this other, all this stuff that happened, it drove the FOMO down. And from that point, it made it very difficult for companies to generate the kind of capital they were looking to get to launch their projects. And in that, a lot of companies that did get a lot of Ethereum at ICO basically watched the value of their Ethereum fall and you know, from $1,500 all the way down to $85 for an Ethereum. And a lot of these companies are still struggling because of it. However, and while I can say, and I have said, you know, it's the SEC. If they would have just left stuff alone, we probably wouldn't be in the situation we're in right now. They definitely thwarted the progress of the crypto sphere, as it were, okay? As it were, and that is key. And I have been thinking a lot about this. But you have to ask yourself, where would the end be? What would the end result be if the SEC hadn't stepped in and started throwing, you know, these regulations, these safety measures, you know, this legal, I don't even want to call it legal guidance because so much of it is still so vague, but they're making efforts to kind of turn things around and give things more structure. Okay. And so that is where I see the security tokens coming into play. If you look at all of the institutions and if you look at all of these big bankers, you know, the JP Morgans, the Goldman Sachs, and all of these platforms that they're establishing and these broker desks for crypto and just all the stuff that they're establishing right now, the ETFs and just everything that's going on, basically building a platform from which institutional investors are going to be able to get into the space and generate a return. Well, if you think about things from an institutional investment perspective in the current market as it sits, if I had $1 billion to invest, would I be investing in a lot of the stuff that we were investing in at ICO? No, probably not. And I'll tell you why. Because a lot of these utility tokens, they don't offer dividends. They don't offer ownership of any kind. And the value of these tokens is pretty much solely based off of the speculative nature of them. In other words, it's based on use case. Now, would I invest in a utility token for a project that I felt had a very strong use case, high circulation, high trade volume, high liquidity? Absolutely. That's a different story. But what we're seeing in the market right now is that a lot of these companies, like Debitum, I was all about Debitum. I really liked it. $5,000 in trade volume in a 24-hour period? Give me a break. It's like you can't, it's just the market has changed so much that we're learning what is going to be popular long term. We're learning now in market research, you know, looking at the blockchains that have launched, looking at the dApps, looking at the usability, the functionality, the development, all of these key metrics to these different projects out of the thousands that are out there. And I do believe when you account for a lot of that, you're going to see that a lot of these companies may or may not last. A lot of these companies that did get some serious development done during the bear market are either going to come out and push hard during the next market change or during the next bull run or bull market. But I think some of these companies are going to sell to some of these bigger companies. And what I think may very well happen in the next market swing. Now, this is literally just me, and I haven't done this in a while, just sat and just thought. But what I can see are companies who are I don't want to say self-regulating because that's not the right term, but they're basically going into the market through STOs. How do I explain this? So let's say we have a top 100 list of utility tokens. They're not securities, but they're utility tokens that are just utility tokens. They're tokens that are being used as loyalty coins or what have you. You don't get any ownership. You don't get any dividends. You don't really get much of anything. Maybe you can masternode them. Maybe you can stake them or something like that. And in that sense, those are kind of like dividends in a way. But those aren't really the same thing. Dividends are based off of company earnings. It's a share of company earnings. That's what a dividend is. So a masternode isn't really a dividend, but there is there's a larger return on potential on your investment potentially than just the token's initial value, right? So you have that. But what I see there being a whole slew of STOs who are basically, they're regulated, they're documented, they are structured, and they're issuing a percentage of their overall capital requirement to these tokens. And they're going to issue these tokens to accredited investors. But what do I see some of these STOs doing that I think are going to help them stand out in the market as they're trying to launch? I see a lot of these companies that are being legally funded through the regulatory bodies of, whether it's Reg D and they're, whatever regulation they're leaning on to launch their platforms. I see a lot of these companies generating a lot of capital and revenue properly and buying up a lot of these projects that are in a dying market. And I think that's going to actually solve some problems, both for the SEC, for the initial investors of those projects that may be struggling or dying on a vine because they lack capital. They obviously can't go back. And some of these companies may go back out and say, hey, I don't know how they would do that. I was going to say some of these companies may go out and then issue an STO to get, to further get the capital that they need to pick up where they left off. But that's going to be a tricky thing, because if they didn't play their cards right the first time, I think the faith in them doing it a second time under even a more regulated situation isn't going to be there. Yo, it's the Crypto Crow. And I'm gonna have to go through because there's a lot of interesting comments. So overall, I think what's going to happen is I think we're going to start seeing a lot more STOs coming into the market. And they're going to be regulated. They're going to be doing things properly. But the typical investor is not going to get into these STOs. You are not going to be able to invest in these STOs unless you're an accredited investor. That's just all there is to it. Like, you're just not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to mask a VPN and invest. And a lot of these STO sales are likely going to be private sales. They're not going to be marketing themselves all over the internet. You're going to have to know where to look to find them, and you're going to have to basically get yourself registered as an accredited investor to be able to invest in these projects. And what I am interested to see is if some of these STO companies were to buy the assets of some of these ICO companies, is there some method that will be utilized so that ICO investors are then grandfathered into some portion of the STO investment model? That's a question that I have now that I'm kind of curious about. But what I ultimately see is I see a lot of the institutional money. I see a lot of institutional money obviously going into things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, currency tokens, currency coins, and then these STOs. I think because that is what a lot of these ETFs are likely going to be investing in. And there are going to be probably a top 25, maybe top 50 utility token list that institutions are likely going to go into just to keep their funds and their investments diversified. But ultimately, because there are some ICO tokens that are going to be classified as securities, but I think that I think the STO is going to be the next big thing. However, I think that's going to be the next big thing for institutions, for accredited investors. What I see growing from that is the popularity of the STO market and the frustration developed and created from the non-accredited investors wanting to invest in something, but they can't get into STOs. Well, those folks, likely you and others like you and myself, I mean, technically I'm accredited, but like the general public, the 15-year-old kid who's got an exchange account, the 25-year-old soccer mom who's just hearing about some of this stuff, or she heard about a cool project, or there's a cool app that somebody downloaded and they realized that you can use a utility token with it, whatever the case may be. The institutions are going to be going into these STOs. And I feel like the general end user is going to continue trading these utility tokens, because technically a utility token, since it's not a security, is not under the regulation of the SEC. And therefore, since it's not regulated, will continue to be tradable. If Walmart came out with a loyalty coin, the SEC is not regulating that. There are a lot of different use cases for a utility token, but based off of the availability and the desire, that creates a market, and those markets aren't going to go anywhere. So the question now is, which of these utility tokens are attached to projects with a strong use case, a strong platform, a strong reputation? They've been able to maintain a solid team, that sort of thing. And I think that is where there is still going to be money made in the crypto space for non-accredited investors. I do believe that we are going to have a mixed bag between STOs and ICOs. I don't think one is going to completely take over the other. I don't think that STOs are going to come into the market and take over the ICOs completely. I still think we are going to have ICOs, but I do believe that the ICOs that launch during the next bull market are going to launch with a lot more T's crossed, I's dotted, and they're going to play by the regulatory rules necessary to keep their asses free and out of fines way. The thing of it is I was looking like Polymath. Polymath is obviously one that I know this is a company a lot of you guys have heard about and are familiar with. And they are a facilitator. They help companies launch STOs. and I assume they help them establish financing and all sorts of things, right? They're like an incubator for STOs, and I was, but at the same time, due to low volume, I know they've recently been delisted off of, I forget what exchange it was, but they've been delisted. Right now, while their price is up 5.34%, they're at almost 9 cents a coin. So they're on 17 different exchanges. I think I really can't remember what exchange they were on, but I mean, it looks like these guys are getting over 11.3 million a day in trade volume. So I'm not sure who was that delisted them, but somebody just recently delisted them. I saw an announcement that popped up and let me know. But you're talking about a coin that, you know, right now is almost 9 cents, but its all-time high was $1.66. A big part of me is thinking Polymath is probably going to be a pretty decent investment as we head deeper into 2019 and more regulation sets in and more companies are starting to launch these STOs, because Polymath is one of the companies with the reputation now for being able to do this. And so I'm very curious to see what happens. And it's not just about Polymath. There are others. LA Token, I'm not really sold on LA Token. I have some reservations about them. But you know, that's just my own personal opinion. You've got Spice. So these guys are basically like exchanges, but then these are security token issuers. Token Get, Satis Group, Polymath, obviously, Securitize. I don't know anything about any of these except Polymath. And then security token marketing firms. These companies basically specialize, I'm sure, in the legal ramifications for marketing the sale of a security token, because realistically, you can't openly market the sale of a security token or a security, really. I'm learning a lot of new stuff basically about what you can. There are things you can and can't say, and so forth. So that's my 27-minute thought process behind STOs and security tokens. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's look at chat, and then I'm going to answer some business development questions that were, you know, in yesterday's video. I told everybody, you know, if you're self-employed, you're looking to start a business, whatever it is that you're doing, go ahead and post a question in the comments of the video, and I'll come back and I'll try to answer some of them as best I can. And you know, we'll see where we end up. So I'm going to scroll up here. I'm going to take a look at the comments. We are at the beginning. I'm 54 years old, and I'm definitely in this for the long haul. Just hang on. Absolutely, I completely agree, Joe. But Crow, that's centralized. Insert decentralization maximalist. That's true. But just because the STO market is going to be more centralized, you don't know necessarily 100% if that's going to be the case. I'm going to turn this light on a little bit because I'm getting a lot of shadow. There. Now I just look like a glow. I don't have all my lights. I just have the lights in the room. And but I don't know. I thought it looked okay, but I don't. So, you know, look, I get that there's a whole thing about, you know, decentralization and centralization and all that. I believe that there are going to be a lot of new ways presented in the future with a lot of these companies to basically facilitate the decentralization needs. But I believe that the perfect blend is going to be in order with a lot of these companies. An email address is our identification, how we are identified. I just want to be able to get online without having to be identified with an email or sign in with what's your email all the time. That's a good thing, but I'm going to turn this light off. It's just too bright. It's too late for this. There we go. I that should be okay for everybody. Hold on. I can turn that one on. That's a little better, and it's not. So anyway, an email address. Look, a lot of companies want your email address because they want to continue marketing to you. I mean, that's really the need for an email address. There's no identification use clause for an email address. You can create them out of thin air from anywhere. People just want people want to get a hold of you. That's really all an email address is. So much shady practice in ICOs. There's been a lot of good though. That's the thing. I don't believe the whole thing about 90% of these companies are scams and all that. I don't believe that maximalist bullshit. I think that there have been a lot of really good companies established through the use of ICOs. But as with anything, you know, it's like in any group of people, there's always going to be a few bad ones. In any mass of any kind, there's always going to be some bad seed, bad apple, bad something. And you can't let the few dictate the stance, the value, the you know, whatever of the rest. This is like a .com bubble. It will rebound. It will just take time. I absolutely agree. I believe that when the market truly does turn around, we're going to be in a bull market for a while. We're going to just slowly start to increase in value. We're going to start seeing a lot of different projects start to rise up, you know, and, you know, their price action on the exchanges and things like that. We're going to see a lot of that, and then we're going to see a bull run, I think, like we've never even imagined. I think even shit projects like shit coins are still going to be very valuable because, like I just got done saying, you're going to have the STO market, and the institutional players are going to go into that. But the confidence that is going to establish in your general, you know, your moms and dads, your grandmas, your teenagers, everybody else, they're going to be going to exchanges and they're going to be buying and trading utility tokens because the crypto space as a whole has now been validated and verified in their eyes. And so I think it's going to be, you know, when we start seeing these press articles and we start seeing these, you know, Bloomberg and all, you know, this big company just launched an STO, bought up these three, you know, I think I do believe, I haven't seen any evidence of it, but I do believe that we're going to see some of these ICO companies that are struggling get bought out by some of these bigger companies. I just think that that's going to be a natural course of action. And if anything, I can see some of these companies that did pretty well at ICO in terms of Ethereum, who have now lost a lot of their working capital because of the bear market. I believe a lot of these guys are probably holding on, and they're probably pulling back on some of the announcements and the developments and things like that in the hopes that somebody does come along with an interest in buying them out. And they can say, look, all this, the public doesn't even know about this. You get to, you know, I can see the writing on the wall. What's up, Jay McShay? I think if the SEC hadn't stepped in, there would be rampant losses and fraud all about. It's the Wild West. And that exactly is my point. That was my point earlier that I never even finished because I rambled too much. Imagine this traditional stock market without the SEC right now. Imagine the mortgage industry. Imagine any fintech or financial institution. Imagine what would be we would have Bernie Madoffs all over the place all the time coming up with new Ponzi's, new ways to rob people of their money. If we did not have the SEC, while I do not agree with the way they've been going about the regulation of the crypto space, I do believe they are absolutely necessary, people. I mean, think about it. To me, in the financial market, the SEC is it's like the police. Yeah, if you get pulled over because you're going 10 miles over the speed limit, you get pulled over by an asshole cop who's like, you know, talking shit to you and throws you a ticket and just waiting for you to do something else. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, but that doesn't mean we don't need police. It's like, and I'm not even really comparing the SEC to a bad cop. I'm just saying that, you know, just because an authority body rubs you the wrong way doesn't mean they aren't necessary. And it's like, I mean, we've seen everything that's been going on in the crypto space. Yeah, sure, we could police ourselves to a certain extent, but we're never going to reach a point where everybody is truly comfortable not only investing but using cryptocurrencies if we do not have some sort of trusted protection watching our backs, even if we don't like the way they are doing it. I think that once things really start to get ironed out, yeah, it's going to take some of the power out of the people. That's really just kind of, I don't know, call me a sheep. That's kind of what I've grown accustomed to. I believe that the people in general can't handle having all the power themselves. You know, we have to protect some people from themselves, and I've been doing that for years. You know, it's just the way it is. It really is. Hey, boss man, don't you think the halving of the Bitcoin rewards decentivizes the miners? Yes and no, but I think to a certain degree, look, I don't care what anybody says. Mining companies, a lot of these companies are mining on speculation as well. And a lot of people that are mining Bitcoin and Ethereum and a lot of this other stuff, they're not necessarily mining because of the value of what it is today. They're mining for the value of what they expect it to be next year, 2 years, 3 years from now. I think what the idea for a lot of these companies is they don't want to just be able to mine profitably today. They want to be able to mine with enough money to pay the utility bills and the power bills and pay for the equipment replacements and basically their operating capital. They want to cover that investment, but have enough left over that they can continue to accumulate that they can then sell later at $100,000 of Bitcoin. That's what a lot, and I don't buy that people are mining Bitcoin. You buy $1,000 ASIC and you're mining up, you know, 50, 60 bucks a week or whatever it is. I don't even know. I haven't even calculated that stuff out in a while. But to be quite frank with you, if it costs you 50 bucks in power to mine up 50 bucks in Bitcoin, to me, that's still profitable. I mean, that's just the way I look at it. And people that are trying to say otherwise, to me, are just full of shit. All right. Hi, Crypto Crow. I had an in-depth webcast with Steve Good and Crypto Beast. They will coexist, but STOs are so hard to set up due to the lawyer necessity, thus a huge cost. Yeah, but you know what? That's where a lot of these companies with valid ideas, valid teams, and valid business models and business plans are going to be able to acquire the venture capital funding necessary to take on those initial costs. And that's really how the system is supposed to work. I mean, it's almost like, and you know, while there are going to be costs associated with that, that doesn't necessarily mean that the costs are going to be more than it is to launch an IPO, an initial public offering, which costs millions. And yeah, there will be some of that, but I think overall, it's not a necessity. I don't think a lot of these companies are going to have to spend millions of dollars on legal fees because the very nature of an STO and launching an STO is extremely time saving and money saving. And that's part of the allure. That's part of the attraction to blockchain crowdfunding, is just how much money it saves. So yeah, while you're going to need lawyers and you're going to need probably some venture capital or some serious private investment capital to do things, it's also still a barrier of entry because you're going to have a lot less con artists and scammers and things like that trying to launch STOs, because if they try to do things in a shady way, well, they're not going to get very far. And that's really one of the reasons why I kind of like that. I like that system. What's up, Crypto Positive? I'm doing well, man. I've had a pretty productive day for the most part. I got a lot of things done. I'm still waiting on some other people to get stuff done. It always drives me nuts. I hate having unfinished work, and I hate feeling like, I just finished this. Now I want to finish that. Oh, but I can't because I'm waiting for this piece and that piece. Okay, well, what about this? Oh, I'm waiting on this person for that. I hate that. Like, it drives me absolutely batshit crazy. And I can't sleep. I can't sleep when I feel like I'm capable of doing more. That's why I'm live tonight. Because I'm like painting and I'm thinking, you know what? I still have some energy. I can still do some more today. And that's why I'm here. No, I have not heard about the Coin Republic. What's up, Crypto Blood? Looks like all the other YouTubers are popping in late night. Looks like we're all in the same boat. Crypto Blood, the devs no, but investors yes, because Ontology's node staking gives much bigger rewards than Neo. I did 2 demos on the functionality on my channel. Cool Crypto's Chain. Everybody, go check out Crypto's Chain's video. He's dying over here. He's wants to make sure you know what he's up to. The volume doesn't support your argument. 9 million versus 88 million. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, you're talking to someone else. I'm like, I don't know what you're referring to. Tell us about your exchange, Crow. I plan on telling you about my exchange very soon. There's just some other stuff. I don't even want to say the name of it. It's Crow related, obviously. But I was working on that tonight, and there's so much. I will tell you that we're in the middle of making a decision as to whether or not we want to initiate this banking partnership that would enable us to effectively operate in 40 U.S. states from launch, as opposed to launching in the states that don't, like there are like 4 U.S. states where you don't need licensing. We're hoping more follow suit. I think the latest of which is Pennsylvania, which is actually where one of my partners lives. So we're working on that. It's a huge cost. There's so much cost that goes into an exchange, man. I mean, it's like everything costs money, and to do things properly, it's really expensive. And so we're hoping that we can get a lot of, well, I don't know about a lot, but I'd like to get 8 to 10 solid companies, crypto companies that are basically paying for listing fees, because to do things the way we really want to, and to speed things up, that alone is going to be like 20 grand a month. So it's crazy expensive, and that's just one part of it all. So it's crazy expensive, man. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how expensive it all is, but we're working on it, and I'm going to be able to announce it soon. And we're going to have the landing page is going up soon. We're going to have a newsletter you can sign up for. I'm going to talk in more detail about the Crow coin, because it's coming. The Crow coin is going to be a loyalty token for the exchange. You're going to be able to pay like 50% of your trading fees with it. And we're not going, I mean, and it's basically like Binance, like the Binance token. Every year, I think it started off where you were able to pay for like 50% of your trading fees, and then year 2 you're allowed to pay 25%. Year 3, I think it's like 6.5%, and then maybe year 4 is 6.5%, and then by year 5, like the Binance token doesn't help you anymore, and we're not doing that. Like, I am all about good business, not greedy business. If the public supports this exchange, I want to make sure the public is taken care of. Like, like the Crow coin is, we're not going to do the business model where, oh, well, you buy a whole bunch of them today, and then in 5 years, they don't serve as much of a purpose. Like, if anything, I want to continue adding a purpose for the coins. I want to have merchandise. I want to have, there's a lot of different stuff. There are some charity efforts that I'm interested in. There's just a lot of stuff that I'd like to see the Crow coin used for besides just the exchange. But we're still fleshing it all out right now, and we're still getting a lot of things worked on. All I will say is that we're planning for an April launch, one way or another. But depending on which direction we go, and depending on how many initial crypto listings, like project listings, we take on over the next 2 months, that's going to dictate whether we start off in a group of international countries with some U.S. states, or we launch in like 40 U.S. states right off the bat, as well as like the EU and some of the other continents and things. So There's still a lot of work to be done, and we're working through it, and we're literally putting together. Like I'm applying. We're in the process right now of working through getting like 30 different surety bonds, because you have to get a bunch of surety bonds before you can get the money transmitter licenses in every state, and you just need so much. So there's my talk about the exchange. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but just to give you an idea as to my daily activities right now, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Heather Starbuck, what's up, bruh? Bruh, no shout out. I see you. Caw. That's my crypto. You know what's funny is my partner does that just about every damn time he calls me on the phone. And what's funny is we went to an event. I met him at an event once, and it was super, super crowded. And all of a sudden I heard, caw, real loud. I knew instantly exactly who it was. And I looked over, and there he was. I'm ready for the Crow coin. Well, that's cool. I hope a lot of people are. I will say, though, there are going to be a lot of ways for people to earn free Crow coins when the time is right. So, yeah. Like, basically, it's all going to be about marketing, spreading the word. They're going to be a way for other YouTubers to earn Crow coins. I want to see people doing trading. I want to see people doing, just a lot of different stuff used in this exchange. ADA super discount sale now on. I've been sucking up them tokens like a biscuit in a bucket full of gopher gravy. That's great. All right, let's answer some business development questions, shall we? Let's see if we can't help some people. Let's see. Wow, this is a long one. Okay, should I show these? Yeah, I guess I can. I'll show. Well, yeah. I wish there was a way. Well, I can still see. Okay, so I think you guys can see. It's really doing it this way is really difficult. I don't think it's gonna. I guess we can. All right, you'll be able to just see it behind my head a little. I guess that'll work. All right, so here we go. Let's see what do we got here. Hi, Crow. I'm a father of 4 boys. This is from Michael Parnell. I'm a father of 4 boys. I'm 40 years old, and I'm a professional chef. I own a catering company, but my passion is pork soda barbecue sauce. That is my barbecue sauce brand I'm building. I want to launch in 2019. Pros are passive income. Okay. 2, production of my passion. 3, legacy. Create a legacy for myself and future generations of my family. Early retirement. Be a positive influence to my children. Live a better quality of life. Be successful. 8, see my barbecue sauce on the shelf of every supermarket in the U.S. The last 2 are under the payback umbrella. Pay back everyone in my life that has helped me get this far. Cons: FDA approval, cost of obtaining a commercial kitchen for processing, overhead expenses, capital investments, legal fees, costs of marketing, sacrificing my sanity, competitors with big names in my field, lack of capital funding for my project, trying to accomplish my dream while being a husband, father, and daily grinder. I wanted to share my story with you, Crow. I've been with you since the beginning. DCA every week. Thank you for your work in the crypto ecosystem. Much respect to you, sir. Interesting. So here's what I do know. Of course, this has to be the first question that I read, because this is one of the, the food business is so cutthroat and so massive. The competition is beyond ridiculous. If you go to any grocery store, you can see how many barbecue sauces there are on the shelf just in that one grocery store. Then go to a big soup. Like, I don't know if any of you guys out in the other parts of the country have like a Jungle Gyms. They have thousands of different barbecue sauces. Food business is absolutely tough. And so there wasn't really a question there. It was just listing the pros and cons, but I would basically suggest, initially, FDA approval, that's a thing I didn't even know. I don't even know anything about the FDA or getting approved for anything. I know obviously you need FDA approval for like pills and drugs and things. I guess anything that you put in your body, you need an FDA approval for. I've never seen FDA approved on a barbecue sauce label before. So that's a new one on me. The for something like that, it's like, I honestly, God, I want to be able to help, but I wouldn't even know I guess we'll see, without knowing the legalities to it, it's difficult for me to give you advice, because if I were launching my own barbecue sauce, what would I do? The first thing I would obviously do is I would find out if FDA regulation is only required based off of the amount of consumption. In other words, is it once you get this big, once you're distributing on a massive scale, if you have a distributor, if you're, at what point does FDA, and you're welcome to follow up if you can answer some of these questions. I'd like to go down this rabbit hole even more. And maybe we can make this kind of a process with everybody that I answer. But I would need to know the legalities to it, because here's the one thing, and I'm gonna take your barbecue sauce and I'm gonna apply a business model for just about anything out there when you're talking about a product. And what I mean by that is, like, in the music business, for example, back in the day, you had to, the idea was to go and get a big record label deal, right? And so that was the big end all be all. Everybody thought, just because you get a record label deal, you're going to be rich, which is completely, absolutely furthest thing from the truth. Getting a record label deal means you're going to be more known, but you're going to be broke as shit and you're going to be in debt. And as MP3s and digital music and things like that, and then in social media, and a lot of this stuff started to take shape around like MySpace, and that started to grow, and then you had Facebook, and you had Twitter, and you have all these social media outlets, YouTube. I shit you not, me and a business partner created YouTube before there was ever a YouTube. And it bothers me to this day, because this guy, he's a great business partner, but he's one of those guys where he always wanted to back good ideas, but then he would come in and like just wreck everything and like make everything impossible. Anyway, the point I'm making is, when you're talking about a product, like with record labels got to the point where they weren't signing anybody that weren't capable of marketing themselves and generating a following or a demand for their product prior to signing them. In other words, a record label wanted a sure thing. And so, what I would suggest, when you say passive income, I don't think there's going to be really anything passive about the income you make from trying to market a barbecue sauce. What I would suggest, if there's a way, this is just me being a marketing guy, not necessarily a food businessman. I don't even know if you could do this legally. But if it were me, I would probably, if I were trying to market something that is so competitive and there's a million people out there trying to do the same thing you're doing, I would try to come up with some really inventive ways to make your barbecue sauce stand out amongst the rest and let the word travel on social media to create a demand. All I will say is, if I were to go and buy some barbecue sauce off the shelf somewhere or off the internet because it had a reputation for, I don't know, maybe you last longer in the right moments, or you, I don't know, like what are things that men demand? What are things that women want? And how could you maybe help some of that stuff through your barbecue sauce without damaging the taste? I don't know. That's just a crazy idea. I don't even know if you can do it. I know there are herbs and things like that you can add, make it an aphrodisiac barbecue sauce, that kind of thing. I'm literally just throwing out crazy ideas because I just don't know the food business enough to really give you some solid advice on that one. I'm afraid to say. Given that you said post your comments about business ideas, I am a lawyer trainee looking to finish my internship in 2 years, then passing my bar exam. And after that, going to acquire a master's degree from IT law sciences, blockchain, data protection, intellectual property, etc., and to eventually become an IT lawyer. As I come from a rather poor country, I'm going to enter the international market by helping my clients resolve their internet disputes and problems, and thus make a better income for myself. I am passionate about crypto as well, and I wanted to put my profession and passion together. In the meantime, as I am working as a trainee, I'm still struggling financially. My idea was that as the Chinese English teachers market is expanding, I could give them some lessons in law terminology in English language. Like set up my own site, charge them by the hour, and give them some knowledge of the experience that I gained throughout my learning. I also found some literature about Chinese international law, which I will be able to use in my classes. I thought of a way to perfect my business, English, and that is to attend a course that has domestic law terminology in English language. For the website and advertising, I would borrow some money from my parents. Even if eventually it works, I would be willing to hire new people. Do you think that this idea has any potential? Any tips on how to market it? I heard that the Chinese people are mostly using WeChat, so maybe I could do some marketing on that platform if it accepts advertisement. What do you think? Interesting. Here's what I would suggest. One of the best ways to find out if there's a demand for something is to find out if people are Googling it. There is a, let me see here. I forget what the name of that was. Keg. Keyword Keg. So this is a website that you can go to. I think you can use this for a lot of different stuff. I don't remember if there's a free version or not. Pricing, let me see. Wow, they raised their price. This used to be really cheap. Wow, that really sucks, man. Keyword Keg, come on. This used to be like $8 a month. So they really jacked it up and they're getting greedy. $16 a month if you pay a year at a time. That really sucks, man, because Keyword Keg was pretty daggone awesome. But ultimately, you know, you could do all the research you need in a month, so for $32. But basically, you can watch videos on how it works. But what you do is you can throw in keywords into this tool, and it will tell you exactly how many times per, and you can do this by geography. So if you're talking about, I want to know how many times somebody in China is looking for this term or this term, it'll tell you, and you can, and they're Google, and it tells you how many times people are Googling it. I used to do a lot of this stuff with my YouTube channel when I was trying to find topics worth talking about. I haven't touched this site in obviously long enough that they jacked their price up. I had no idea. But you know, vitamins and supplements, B6 vitamins, that sort of thing. And it tells you the value of those keywords. So if you were able to rank for those keywords, how much that traffic could potentially be worth if you were in the top 10 or the top 10 positions in Google. It tells you kind of the SEO difficulty, like how difficult is it to rank for those keywords. That's more from an SEO perspective. But what really matters is the volume of how many people are actively searching for that particular keyword string in a month. Because based off of what you're doing, you're trying to find out if there's enough of a market for people learning business related and IT terms in different languages. From that point, if you are able to if you're able to look up some of these terms in Keyword Keg or any other keyword search solution, I mean, you can do it for free in Google AdWords, but you don't get as much information, and you can't use wildcards. Whereas you might put in one keyword and it'll automatically add a whole bunch of other potential keyword strings to it and then tell you the volume of those. I don't think AdWords does that. But ultimately, find out that way, and then you can create something like a Udemy course, which everybody knows. A lot of you guys have joined my old Udemy courses, learning about, you know, what crypto is, how to use it, wallets and security and all sorts of stuff. You can create a Udemy course And then potentially you can invest a few bucks here and there to buy Facebook ads in the markets you're trying to target in their native language and drive that traffic to your Udemy course. So you can basically, you've got, you know, and honestly, start a YouTube channel. I mean, you do the same thing basically. I'm basically describing to you what I did. And that's how you can do that. And the thing of it is depending on the content, if you're going to Keyword Keg and you're finding popular keyword search strings relevant to the market you're in, if you are able to capitalize on that by putting out YouTube lessons, teaching these things and titling them, anchoring them, and tagging them with these relevant keywords, people are going to find you, see your video, and join your YouTube. And that's ultimately what I would probably look into doing if I were you. Now I thought there were more, but I guess those were the only two. So yeah, everything else is our comments. I think that's it, unless there's something wrong. So I don't know. That's not exactly what I had in mind. You know, overall, let me just say this in closing. We are over an hour. I actually hung out over an hour on video. Must try barbecue sauce, by the way. Little side of the road barbecue when pulling off the exit to Weeds, California. Some kind of crazy magic in their voodoo sauce. No joke. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff that spreads. You're talking about it now. Oh, and I have been getting some comments recently about Aquatos. People saying that I haven't been posting my earnings or what my bot's been doing lately. And you're right, I haven't, because I've got 5 pairs right now that are at negative 8% to negative 23% waiting to be sold, because I don't use stop losses and I'm not trading with a huge amount. Like I don't leave a lot on exchanges at all anymore. So I'm not trading with a substantial amount. I think I'm trading with like 800 bucks. I think my portfolio is worth like 800 bucks or something like that now. So yeah, that's really why I'm not. I had a chat with the team today, and we're talking about some different things. We're probably going to go live, and we're going to explain some new things. There have been some new features, and there's some stuff going on. But I have not been actively. Sorry, I have not actively been doing a lot with Aquatos because again, I don't use stop losses, and I'm just waiting for. But here's the thing: I'm only trading coins. I'm only trading stuff that I don't mind having bags for. I'm not really using Aquatos for like speed trading right now. What I probably am thinking of doing is, you know, as an affiliate, they send me payments in Bitcoin, like, and so when they send me my next commission deposit or whatever you want to call it, I'm probably going to use that, and I'm going to use that to trade with the I can't even remember what the feature is, but it's basically like the bear market tool that it won't put you into trades that are likely to go down after you buy them. And so you make less trades, but you keep your capital flowing. And so that I'm going to experiment with that this time around and see what that can accomplish for me. So I was using Profit Trailer now for the crypto equivalent of driving a Pontiac Fiero. I'm going to say no, it's not. I'm doing this Aquatos thing because I really like the crew. I like the team. I think they're brilliant. They genuinely care about putting out a really solid quality product. And, you know, it's like I grew to kind of learn who these guys are and what they were about, and working with them with a Profit Trailer add-ons. And so it's not that Profit Trailer is like old news or old school. I'll never have anything negative to say about Profit Trailer. Profit Trailer made me a lot of money. I mean, in two more ways than one, both as an affiliate and using it to trade. It's just they're completely different in how they operate, you know. And I've explained a lot of this, but you know, Profit Trailer, you can throw some settings in there and it'll trade every coin available on the exchange you're using APIs for, you know. And it looks for signals and it trades those. It doesn't matter what the coin is. But the thing of it is that it's difficult because the settings can get really complicated and it's difficult to experiment with. You know, with Aquatos, you can pick your pairs very easily in a GUI, a graphical interface, and ultimately say, okay, I want to trade this pair and I want to use this strategy for this pair, but in looking at the charts for this particular coin, I think this strategy would work better and be more profitable, you know. And then you can, it's just a different thing altogether. The back testing system, you say, oh, well, I wonder how this strategy will work for this particular pair. And you can run a back test, and then you can run paper trading, and you can do a lot of different experimentation on a particular pair, a particular strategy, and the settings associated with those strategies before you've even risked the dime. And that's one of the things that I really like about Aquatos, is that you can experiment before you've ever spent any money. And so you can say, okay, well, I'm going to go pick up a copy of Aquatos, and then I'm just going to play with it. I'm not even going to put money into it. I just want to have it, and I want to learn how to use it, and I want to get really, really good with the back testing and the paper trading and the proper settings. And then once I've had a month where I'm like, I've got this, I'm rocking it out, I'm going to do a really good job, I'm going to make some money, I've already, this past 30 days, I've improved my position by 40%, I think it's time I'm going to make some investment and put some money on an exchange and start live trading. You can do that. You can't really do that kind of stuff with Private Trailer. You kind of already have to be, I don't want to say an expert, but you have to be you have to have a really good idea as to what you're doing, and you don't really have many options there for experimentation. Market is crap. I can wait for the turn. It's a lot easier to say. It's a lot easier to use, I will say, but learn it. Yeah. What happened to Crow? What do you mean? My audio out? Or is it my lighting? I do better trading manually over bot trading. That could be true, and some people can. It depends on how good you are at technical analysis and how sociopathic you are. No, I'm kidding. By that, I'm joking, but the idea is that automated bots basically take the emotions out of the game. So, you know, if you're calm as a cucumber under any circumstances and you're able to make those really sharp decisions quickly, then you're good to go. Agree. PT is great in a fiat bear market, but bags up big time if BTC dips. Cheers. Maybe you're just looking at Top Chat. Everything is good, Crow. Can't trade till Mt. Gox dumps all. Yeah. I was under the impression that Mt. Gox was court ordered to stop dumping. Like, I thought that they weren't even allowed to do that anymore. So, all right. I guess that's it. I'll call it a night. You know, did a little bit of everything tonight. Hopefully the video's helpful and educational. I just kind of wanted to hang out. I don't actually want to log off, but I don't really have anything else to say. I kind of want to eat something. It's like almost 2 in the morning, and I've not eaten a whole lot today. I am still carrying bad bags from the March dump thanks to BT. So yeah. Oh man, that sucks. You can always average down. I don't know what your DCA settings are like, but you can always average down. Script Skynet, that might make it Frank for sure. I don't even know what you're talking about, Heather. Oh man, I know what I do need to do. I just need to get through all this stuff. I need to, because I need to just need to get back on like a proper diet and like workout thing, and there's so much stuff that needs to be done, and it's really difficult for me to focus on like, I will say like my blood pressure is perfect for anybody that cares, because I just went and donated blood the other day. My hematocrit was like pretty good. Like I think my testosterone levels have been coming up to a point where I'm starting to actually feel it now, and I get a shot because it's a smaller dose and I had been off of it for a couple of months. So it's starting to, I mean, things are really starting to feel good. I'm starting to get back into the groove of things. Man, I think I'm like 300 pounds. I might even be a little over 300 now. I don't know. I think I've gained probably like 5 to 7 pounds over the past month. And I got to get that shit in check. Where can we give feature suggestions for your exchange? That's a good question. Maybe in the reveal video. Maybe because I was hoping to try and do it tomorrow, but I don't think that's going to be possible. It might not be until Monday. I will announce it. I will announce the name and the URL and let people go, and you can join the newsletter and such. Yeah, and then maybe in that reveal video, if you wanted to post some comments and questions and stuff there, that'd be pretty. And I'll definitely be. Marijuana beverage business plan. I'm pretty sure they've already got that. Isn't that what CBD oil is, kind of? In a few years, put 10K and PT from the next run, and that'll pay your month. I mean, realistically, I mean, at some point, I do plan to have Aquatos down to a point where I want to be able to tell you, look, I think one of the beauties of Aquatos, that I just haven't had the time to do it, is, well, I will say that I'm going to make these guys make my exchange a part of Aquatos so that everybody will be able to trade some of the major coins on Aquatos using my exchange, because that'll help us both. But it's being able to study a particular pair and understanding its habits, and then really fine-tuning the right strategy and the associated settings, because there are a lot of patterns to a lot of these coins. So thanks for keeping me entertained at work, Jason. Well, that's cool. Man, you're at work right now? Well, I mean, it's almost 2 a.m. here, but I don't know what time it is at your time. You did say you were having trouble sleeping. Your biological clock is crazy. It is crazy. That's why I've got these dark circles. When I stay up really late and then I wake up early, actually, it doesn't even really matter. If I wake up early, I'm just tired all day. If I wake up when my body wants to wake up, then my circles get really dark. Like, they get black. And people are like, are you wearing eyeshadow? It's like, no. And the shadow cast, because of my big bulbous caveman forehead, the way it like creates a shadow. My eyes aren't as dark, really, as they look on film right now. All right, covered everything in this vid. Weaponized condiments to testosterone levels. The right CBD is amazing for sleep. I take Crow, are you taller than me? I'm 6'8". Yes, I'm taller than you. I'm 7 foot even. I'm in swing shift in Seattle. I work till 2. Wow. Crypto Crow, is that where your nickname stems from? I don't know what you're referring to. Just start wearing some makeup. Crow's gone emo. No, I'll tell you, like, the Crow. I used to draw, you know what, graphic novel, I'll show this. That's one thing I used to do in my videos a lot, is show all kinds of, I kind of missed it. So this graphic novel, oh my God, even seeing the cover makes me so crazy nostalgic. I feel like I need to buy a copy and just pictures. I used to sit around draw, like I used to draw this picture all the time. And I still draw it from memory all the time. I've drawn just about every major picture in the Crow comic book. There was another one that I used to draw a lot. That was one of them. But I've drawn. So I could duplicate any of these pictures. Like I used to draw with a Pilot pen. And I could duplicate anything, but I could never draw from my own imagination. So I could take, something like this and blow it up and make it, like, even in the 4th grade, I got suspended once because I was drawing Garbage Pail Kid stickers. Like, I don't know how many of you are like my age, but you remember the Garbage Pail cards. And I used to charge kids $1. Like, I would charge their lunch money. And they'd give me $1, and I would take their Garbage Pail Kid sticker and I would blow it up and draw a poster of it on 8.5 by 11 paper. And I got suspended to in-school suspension for drawing these in class. What's funny is another teacher found out that I was suspended for drawing and had me draw pictures of Dennis the Menace that she used to line her classroom. So I spent in-school suspension for drawing just to end up drawing for a teacher. I used to love that. I that was actually really simple. But I have not drawn a picture in years, and I was actually pretty good. I really was pretty good at it. But anyway, yeah, this is where the crow came from. I loved the crow, and it's like the story, and then when in like the movie, it was just, to me, the movie is so magical, and then like, you know, the fact that you know, he died filming the movie, and there's that whole kind of mysticism to it, and I don't know, but that's where it all came from. LOL, anarchist teacher. I got suspended for selling those. That's funny. I used to like the garbage pail kids were pretty bad. Some of them were really, really gross. Damn, 4 inches taller than me. Crazy. Yeah, my wife's only 5 foot, so picture that. Oh man, I remember those. Let's take a look at these garbage pail kids, because I understand a lot of these are worth like a crazy amount of money now. Garbage pail kids cards. Oh my god, how is this not a blast from the past, people? Weren't these like banned from like everywhere for a while? Oh my. Even seeing these, like if they came out with, I wonder what these are worth now. I had some of these, but for some reason I can't remember it. I think my family wouldn't let me have them. Like, I was raised by a bunch of Catholic women at that. So this kind of stuff just wasn't allowed. Like, I wasn't allowed really, like, I remember there was the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, and I wasn't allowed to watch that. All work of the devil kind of. Ooh. 25 disturbing garbage pail kit. Peeled Paul. I want to know, you know what? Hold up. I want to check and see what eBay said. Chuck. Garbage. Garbage Pail Kids Series 2 Miscellaneous. 7 cards, 25 bucks. 9th series, 86 cards, almost $300. I mean, honestly, that's a lot less than I thought these would probably be. But they're so gross. Like, it's not exactly something that you can just, oh, I remember that one where it's like the diaper flap in the back. But yeah, it's still a blast from the past, man. Crazy. That's just one series. I don't even. Anyway, that's some nostalgic stuff. Brandon Lee, yeah, I'd pay 300 bucks. Can you review Eminate? No need to plug it here. Maybe. I don't even know. I've never even heard of it. Never even heard of that project. Should have kept 9. Damn it. Yeah, I know. Have a great night, everyone. Got to get up early for the stock market. Ooh, Iker. My parents wouldn't let me have them either. Yeah. Sup, dude? Tom Lee says Bitcoin 2200. Maybe. Need some more non-fungible garbage pail kids. You know, there's some things that I really want to work on someday. Like, one, I want to work on a game that is, one of these days I'm going to create, if I ever made like a fortune in crypto, I'm going to create my own damn game. I actually want to create a digital version of this game. A tactical, kind of board game. Why is that not? But like this is the game that I play, and these are the models that I'm always painting. But it's a tabletop game, like that's Crix. But I want to create a version of this that you could play against other people online. Now, they came up with this, but it's shit. I don't even know if they created this in-house or what. That looks kind of cool. What is that? Longsword tabletop tactics. I'll need to check that out there, because that kind of looks But yeah, basically I want to do something like this, but in like the War Machine universe, using you know, tournament lists. Basically like Magic the Gathering Arena is for Magic the Gathering cards. I want to create something like with characters that look like this, like small size, top down, isometric, something like that. Because the only way to play this game that I love so much, War Machine and Hordes, is through something called Vassal, which I just I won't ever play it. Like it's a very complicated system to be able to play stuff on. But yeah, I want to create that, and I still have an idea for crypto that I would love to Dark Eldor. I never got into 40K. 40K is cool. I have a couple. I was gonna play the orcs. I thought about getting into Warhammer 40K, and I was gonna play the orcs. And I bought a bunch of orc stuff, and I painted some of it up. And then I think when we moved, something happened to them. Sitting here listening to Crow and watching Walk the Line doesn't get much better than this. Oh, that's fun. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Dominic. How old are you, Crow? I'm 25. What's up, Ram Shack? No, I'm 41. Yeah, I'm 41. Can't you see how gray I am? My wife has to dye this all again. Then I look like I'm 35. It takes a little bit of time off. I actually do. I'm interested in checking that game out. I just love tactical games. I just love Longsword. I've got to remember that. I just love games that make you think. And War Machine is by far the most tactical, taxing game out there, and it's just so challenging. War Machine Battle Report. I've actually sat around at night and watched battle reports. But this is what, like, if you're gonna play War Machine, this is what it looks like before you go. Like, he's all set up, they're set up, and then there'll be scenarios. Typically, I always go for the assassination, because like every list has a warcaster that controls everything else in the army and issues orders, casts spells, does different things. This is probably the warcaster, I'm guessing. That looks like, I'm not even sure what faction that is. It looks like that's Circle. I thought this might be Crix, but it's not Crix. Those look like Bane Riders. They're not. But anyway, and like once if you kill your opponent's warcaster, the game is over. Like, you won. Or you can win by scenario, attrition, stuff like that. But it's crazy. Oh, those are mercs, because that's a galleon. But in every model on the table has like particular, like a card associated with it, where they have different spells and abilities. So like, I'll show you an example. Now, I'm only doing this just in case. So I actually just made a deal with somebody recently on a website where he had like $3,000 worth of Crix, which is a faction I used to play a long time ago, and then I stopped playing the game for a few years, and now I'm like really missing my Crix, and I want more stuff to paint. So I basically sent him like $300 and like all my Magic the Gathering cards, like all my rares, which is totally fine by me. But there's a Warcaster, Crix, Scavarus. I know some of you aren't interested in any of this, but some of you might be. You never know. So this is a Warcaster, Scavarus. All the pictures are so small. But anyway, this is one Warcaster, and this guy, he's basically like an assassination type caster, because one of his spells is telekinesis, where he can basically, anything within 8 inches of him, you can, this is an example of a Warcaster card, or one side of it. Like 7 speed, which means she can move 7 inches, 5 strength, 5 mat, which is her melee attack, rat, which is ranged attack, is 4, defensive 16, armor 14, command of 8 inches. She has stealth and something else. And then if you were to flip the card over, the caster has a bunch of spells that they can cast that they use focus to cast. So it might have one spell, it costs 2 focus, so forth and so on. And so, like, if you were to hit her with a mat of 5, a defense of 16, then you would need an 11 on dice to make that hit. And then you would take your PNS 12 against their armor of 14. You would roll 2, 3, and sometimes 4 dice, and you'd be like, okay, well, this is dice minus 4. So whatever you roll for damage, you subtract 4 from it, blah, 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 blah. Probably lost all you guys already, but when you mix that in, and you've got like 30 models on the table, and they all have different, you know, armor and attacks and spells and special attacks and all that stuff, it gets really, it's like chess on like crazy steroids. And each faction is known for different things. You know, like Cricks are just nasty. Some of them come back to life. You know, there are, I forget how many factions there are. There might be like 10 or 15 different factions. My Grimkin is another faction. But if you're into tactical type tabletop gameplay, or you're bored of Warhammer 40K, I mean, Warhammer 40K is kind of like checkers, and War Machine is like chess. So check that out. I'll leave that there. All right. Do you remember Pogs? I do remember. Show off. What are you talking about? Do you remember Pogs? I remember the game. I remember that it existed. I never played it. But I think, for whatever reason, I'm thinking my daughters might have played that briefly, like a few years back. I'm not sure. I started on TV ping pong, then went to Atari. Favorite game was Adventure. You know what my favorite game was as a kid? Zork. Oh my God, I just said that name, so I gotta pull it up. This is a straight up hangout. Like, anybody watching this video tonight or in the future, hopefully they're like, you know what, this had a little bit of everything. I dig it. And if they do, I don't know, you have to let me know in the comments. If you like it, I'd love to do more stuff like this, but I always feel like I feel obligated to do videos that are very focused and short, and I can't just chill, even when I try to. But late at night, I don't really give a shit. So this was the shit back in the day. I loved Zork, and there's actually a book. There's Zork 1, 2, 3. There's a book that I bought. It was like the first book I ever read all the way through. And I don't see it. I don't remember the name of it. It was Zork, but I'm thinking it was Zork Chronicles, maybe. Hold on, let me see. And the novel was very much like, yes, this is it. Oh my God. There's so many things that I had when I was a kid. I remember I was at like a Kmart, and I like begged my mom to buy this book for me, because I was playing the game and I was flipping through the book and I would read a little bit of it. And I was like, I wonder if I'll learn more about how to get further in the game by reading this book. And I like begged my mom to get it. My mom was like, you never finish a book. And that is like my biggest thing. To this day, it's difficult. Like, I am almost halfway through Armada, though, I will say, and I'm loving it. It's just a cool adventure. But, and I mean, for me to read fiction like that, like I am with Armada, it's like crazy that I'm halfway through already and I've only owned the book a week. Typically it would take months for me to get that far in a fiction book. Playing Elite on Commodore 64, yeah. The Zork stuff was just incredible, man. I mean, if you haven't played a game until you've played Zork. Wait a minute, are these other Zork books? Zork, the Cavern of Doom. Oh no, those are the games. No. I'm wondering, unless all of these books were all wrapped up into that one book. I don't know. I never saw all those other books. But anyway, yeah, I used to play this, and I've showed you guys this before. SX64. This was my computer. Bam. Oh, that's what my computer ended up looking like by the time I was. Wow. Looking at the inside of that thing after all these years. So I like, yeah, when I had mine, I like stuck a screwdriver. It started conking out, and like the screen, the monitor was going bad. And I stuck a screwdriver down in here, and like right under Oh, you can't see my hand, but basically right down here, there's like a suction cup. I'll never forget. I was 11 years old. I'm pretty sure, maybe 12. There was a suction cup in there, and I pulled that suction cup out, and I jammed a screwdriver in it, and it vibrated my whole arm like a static discharge. And once I realized I was okay, I did it again. But yeah, wow, man, I love having like these nostalgic blasts from the because it's cool. Because when I look at chat and I see you guys get it, like you guys are like, yeah, Commodore, yeah, Zork, like you guys rock. I love you. Okay, if kids in the 80s didn't have Nintendo at their house, they would have weird things that their parents were getting them for Christmas, like My Pet Monster or My Buddy and Kid Sister. Neo Geo. Why is that sounding familiar? I never had one of these. I didn't have anything that like. I do remember this now. This didn't go very far, wasn't it? Like this was like this was almost kind of ahead of its time, wasn't it? Because it was like pretty badass when it came out, but it's pretty expensive. What I did have was an Odyssey. Had a really wonky, weird kind of touch keyboard. Is it? Oh my god, that is it. Yeah, it had cartridges and like had this like push keyboard. It was like a flat panel. You push the buttons down. I had an Odyssey. I had it, but the thing of it is like when I had this shit, I had it like years after it came out. Like everything I ever had as a kid came from a garage sale. So it had to be old enough for somebody to want to discard it for next to nothing at a yard sale before I got my hands on it. Even my Commodore, my SX64 was bought at a yard sale. Oh man, Stompers. No, I never heard of those. I fell out of a tree last Sunday. First time in 42 years. It was not the same. Oh man. All right, guys. I love you guys. I really do. I love just hanging out and chilling and talking about old school. I gotta go get something to eat and get my ass to bed. I gotta try. I gotta go watch Gotham and try to fall asleep watching Gotham. That's been my little flavor. You know what I need you guys to do? When I get off here and this goes to YouTube, I need you guys to post some comments about some kick-ass shows that I need to watch with my wife because we've run out of everything. We've watched everything. We did just watch a show called Sinner or The Sinner with Jessica Biel. That was pretty good, but it's only one season. A lot of the shows that we're down to trying to watch, they only have like one season because they're all new. But yeah, if you haven't, check out The Sinner on Netflix. It's definitely worth a watch. We actually accidentally binge watched that in a day. So yeah, check it out. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a night. I really do love hanging out with you guys. We'll see you again real soon. Throw your coins and have a real